Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears, even though nobody really wants to talk about the Bears anymore. Can you believe they're 4-10? 4-10. There's not a lot good to say. There is some good stuff about last night's game, and there's a lot of bad, so we're going to get right to it. First of all, the score was 17-9. And really, it was really 17-3 until the last 2 seconds of the game when the Bears scored a useless touchdown. But I'm sure the player who caught it will take the touchdown and the numbers. But something I was thinking about. So, no, a lot of you know that a lot of our players were out with COVID and injury. Half the team wasn't playing. All the guys in the backfield on the defense last night were all second and third string starters, and one of them was a rookie, his first time starting, and we're going to talk about him. But so I got to thinking about it, and I thought, you know what? Why doesn't Nagy? Why didn't Nagy just suit up and he can go out on the field and he can play his offense and see how great it is? Yeah, Nagy, why didn't you play last night? And you know the other thing that really bugged me about Sunday is Detroit beat Arizona. Can you believe it? And we couldn't beat Arizona? That's really bad. I'm happy for Detroit. Sad for us because we should have beat. There's the Arizona game, the Ravens game, and the Pittsburgh games. All were games the Bears were in and should have won, but because of Nagy and his terrible coaching, we did not. So that's what I'm going to say. So let's talk about the game last night, okay? I know most people won't want to, but that's what I do. This is my job, man. Okay, so the Bears beat, again, another team in most of the categories, like it's been happening. So I'm going to read some of the categories that the Bears beat Minnesota in. Total plays ran, the Bears ran 70 plays, Minnesota 60s, win. Total yards, Bears had 370 total yards to 193 yards for Minnesota. Win. Good. That's a good thing for the defense, for the Bears defense. Right on, guys. Passing yards, this is incredible. 255 yards for the Bears to 61 passing yards for Minnesota. Good for Bears, although most of those passing yards came in the second half when the Bears were down, fourth quarter, and that's all he was doing. Fields was throwing. But it was too late. But that's another good thing for the defense, those last two. Now, rushing was close. We had 115 yards total rushing. They had 132. So they won that one. Time of possession was pretty much the same. Bears had it 30 minutes, give or take seconds here, and Minnesota had it 31. So really that was really the same. The one thing that really killed the Bears, and we all know it, besides the turnovers, is the penalties. They had 9 penalties for 91 yards, and 4 of those penalties were personal fouls. And one of them was on Nagy, which I thought was a bullshit play. I've seen coaches yell at refs many times like Nagy was and never got a penalty. And so I will point out that the ref team, that the refs that were on the field last night were the same refs that were in that Pittsburgh game that cost the Bears that game with those 2 penalties that took points off the boards for the Bears and cost that game for us. And we all know that, especially the one where that one ref elbowed one of our players. He elbowed Marsh when he gave him that taunting penalty for that Pittsburgh game. So this is the same crew. So I'm not surprised. They sucked. But some of those Bears penalties were bad. And we're going to talk about it because they stopped some drives and stuff. So you can't have 9 penalties for 91 yards and expect to win a game. And 4 of them personal fouls. And I'm going to tell you, the Nagy one shouldn't have happened. And then there was another one that we got. I think it was on Bush, 26, and they said he hit him with his arm, and it was it shouldn't have been a personal foul because it was after he had already tackled somebody and then fell into this guy. It was not. He did not do that intentionally, and should never. Even the TV announcers were like, that shouldn't have been called. So that's that on that. But we're going to get back to the penalties later. But so Bears had 3 turnovers, and that is not acceptable. And one of them, again, Fields. Fields has got a real problem with that. He has got to work on this in the offseason. I know everyone says he's the answer. He scares me a little bit. I know I'm keeping my mind open because we're going to have a new coaching staff next year, so I'm going to judge Fields on that. But there are some things that worry me about him, and the fumbling is a huge problem because he fumbles a lot. David Montgomery, uncharacteristically, our running back number 32, fumbled yesterday. And then number 10, David Byrd, was returned punts, and he fumbled on one of the punts. So we gave it to him 3 times. You can't do that either. Our rookie lineman, our offensive lineman, number 76, Jenkins, had 4 penalties in this game last night. He had 4 penalties in last week's game. Okay? I know Jenkins is a rookie, but come on. We have got to stop this shit. It's stupid shit. Although I will give Jenkins a high five for when they knocked Fields out of bounds, and he thought it was a late hit, and it really wasn't. He went after those guys, and unfortunately, was there a penalty for that one? I can't. Yes, there was, and that was one of his 15-yarders, So I'm in that one. I'm like, I liked it. I didn't because he's standing up for his quarterback, and you like to see your offensive lineman doing that. But But one of those penalties, Jenkins stopped to drive. We were driving down the field, and he stopped it. Actually, the Bears, I forget how many times it was, 2 or 3 times where the penalty stopped the Bears and gave Minnesota first downs, or gave Minnesota first downs on this. So our offense had penalties where it stopped their drives, and the defense had penalties to give the Minnesota first down. So it was just a cluster fuck all the way around. The Bears' offense looked horrible. I mean, really, are we playing pee-wee football out there? Because that's what it looked like. There was drop balls. They were fumbling the balls. And they had 3 4-and-1. They were 3 times they were at 4th down and one or less yard to go. They had 4th and 1, came away with no first downs, and 3 times this happened. They never got a first down or points out of it. So the first one was with 2 minutes left in the first half, we were 4th and 1, and that's where I mentioned Jenkins, 76, the offensive lineman, got a penalty. So it stopped. We pushed us back, so we had to go for a field goal. They did get a field goal. They got 3 points on that. We were in the second half of the game. We were again 4th and 1 yard, less 1 yard to go. And you could see the Bears were going for it, and the Bears looked very confused out there. Nobody knew what they were doing. That's when the coach for a rookie quarterback should call a timeout. What was Nagy looking at? His Facebook page, for Christ's sake? Come on, man. So what happens? Fields gets sacked. That's it. We give the ball over to Minnesota again. Then the third 4th and 1. We were on our 6-yard line, ready to go in for a touchdown, and they came away with no points and no first down. They handed over to Minnesota again. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. You know what? Each week they look worse and worse and worse, I think. So I don't know what's going on, but I don't know what the Bears are waiting for. They did say last night, I thought it was a little interesting, they said there's only 2 teams in the National Football League that have never fired their coach during the season. The Ravens are one of them, but the Ravens haven't been around as long as, of course, the second one, the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears have been around since, 1920? And they've never fired a coach during the season, so we know the asshole is not going to get fired. He should after last night's game because that was frickin' embarrassing. Me and my girls, who are all in our 60s, we could have done a hell of a better job out there than those guys. I'm telling you. And a lot of it is the coaching staff. Like that one I told you where they were on their second 4th and 1, and the team, I could see, I was yelling, call timeout, call timeout. What is Nagy looking at, for Christ's sake? David Montgomery, our running back, number 32, he had a pretty good game. They ran the first half a lot. He got 60 yards, but then they had to stop in the second half because the Bears were losing, and seems to be what's been going on all season. So then you're forced to throw the ball. And when you're running good, you want to keep that up. So it's unfortunate because I thought if we could have kept running the second half, we could have won. But it didn't matter because Cousins they did run the ball more than us, so they had 132 yards. But Cousins had 61 yards passing. What the hell? We should have beaten them. And we beat them in so many categories. So that's coaching. A lot of it's coaching. And a lot of it is, I think some people have given up. I'm sorry, I saw that. I did not see it on defense, not one bit. But we're going to talk about that. So here, let's get some of the good things that happen. Because, there's so many damn bad things each week. I try to mention the good things. Number 8, Williams, Dante Williams, I think his first name is. He blocked a punt in the third quarter. But, of course, the Bears came away with no points. And he blocked it down on our side of the field. We should have gotten points, but we didn't. Then, here's a good and bad. In the second quarter, right before the half, the Bears intercept the ball. Number 26, David Bush, intercepts Kirk Cousins. And we get the ball with 46 seconds left, and the offense does nothing. So the Bears have to go for a field goal, and guess what? It's blocked. No good. So that was a good and bad. I swear to God, on that point, but I want to say, though, on that blocked field goal, it was, I do believe it, yeah, I said it was blocked, so it was missed. So, yeah, it was blocked and it was missed. I did say that, Lynn. Pay attention. Okay, I will. So that was no good. You can blame Santos, but you can't. Okay, here's the really good part. Hicks, 96, finally played last night. And what a difference. Did you see the difference? Everybody loves playing with him. He brings everybody up. If he could stayed healthy this year, things could have been different. He had 2 sacks, Hicks. And he's a run stopper, so he wasn't in there a lot in the first half. I'm like, why is he not in there? And Quinn had another 2-sack game. So that gives Quinn 16 sacks. And he is close to breaking Richard Dent's sack total of Richard Dent in 1985, the year we won the Super Bowl. He recorded 17 and a half sacks. I hope that Quinn gets it. I really do, because he has been playing lights out. Quinn, the whole defense came to play last night. I got to tell you, I was really impressed. Because it's got to be demoralizing to go out there and stop them and hold them to 17 points is pretty darn good. Because I told you on Friday that Cousins had 3,600 yards passing. It was a little less, but I'm going to round up. And they have a great running back, so they held them to the running game to 132 yards, which is pretty darn good for their running back because he's really good. And it was a couple guys running, not just him. The defense came to play, no doubt, and they are just awesome. So here's a couple guys that stood out for me last night. Obviously, Quinn, he was all over the place. He was chasing, at one point, he ended up chasing Kirk Cousins halfway down the field, and he didn't get him. Somebody else did, but it was pretty funny. Quinn Hicks, again, Roquan Smith, our linebacker, number 58, he is always playing. He has never taken a game off. He does not get recognition he deserves. He is one really good, solid linebacker. And then a real surprise last night. It was his first start. He's a rookie. Number 27, Graham. He was a cornerback. And I got to tell you what, he had a pretty good darn game last night. And he was balling. He was all over the place. And he knocked down a couple passes. And I don't believe he got any pass interference penalties. So here's a bright spot in that game last night. This rookie, number 27, maybe we have a cornerback in the making. He didn't play in 2020 in college at all. He opted out because of the COVID. So the Bears drafted him in the real late rounds, and because nobody really wanted him, because nobody knew what they were getting. But now that he got to play, I'd like to see him play in the rest of the year. I think they should put him in, but we'll see. Another coaching. Our coaching staff sucks, but. Number 27, I really liked what I saw, and I got to tell you, so maybe we have a cornerback in the making, but the defense was very, very good last night. I would be pissed if I were them, because they played their butts out, and you could see it. It was hard out there. They left everything out there. They have not given up, but I think some guys on offense have. And you can blame your coaching staff for that too. Although guys should never give up, because you're getting paid. I went to work for over 40-something years, and you had your good and bad days, but you have to go and you have to do it, because guess what? It's a job, and you're getting paid, guys. So earn your paycheck. Here's another thing that shows you how Nagy sucks. So it's 5 minutes. At this point, well, it was 6 minutes when it started, but 6 minutes. But I noticed that at 5 minutes and 25 seconds left in the game, the Bears' offense they're down 17-3. They have the ball. They're in the middle of the field. I think they were at the 45. They were 45 or 40, and they're huddling up. What? You should be calling at least a couple plays initially, and then after every play is complete, run up, and you should be doing the 2-minute drill when you're down 17-3 and there's 6 minutes left, and you're huddling up. That is just so inexcusable, and you don't see good teams doing that. You don't see, Ben Roethlisberger doing it. You don't see Brady doing it. You don't see Russell Wilson doing that. Any of the guys, even the young quarterbacks, Mahomes and those guys, they are always rushing up. They see they've got 5 minutes left and they're down 2 scores. What the hell, Nagy? That's totally on Nagy. So, bottom line, again, the Bears won this game on paper. And this happened at least 2 more times, if not 3. Arizona game, Ravens game, Pittsburgh game. That's 3 I count. That they should have won the game. And on paper they won, but the offense is just so bad that they can't score any damn points. I mean, the Pee-wee, when my son played Pee-wee many, 30 years ago, his team could score more than 3 points, for God's sake. Come on. And then I heard, which I kind of liked, even though he's going to get fined for it, I heard Quinn bitching about the refs after the game. He said, the thing about refs is they can change a game like that with a call, good or bad. If it's a fair call, that's fine. But if it's a bad call, they can change the game on that. And he said, maybe they need to start looking into the refs they're hiring. Really, I kind of like it. He will be fined for it because he went on and on, but he's right, because some of those calls change plays, and that coach or refs, I don't like. I knew it right away. I said, "Oh God, it's the same ones from Pittsburgh." And when they, when they went after Nagy and gave him the that personal foul for yelling at him, that's bullshit. You big pussy ref. All refs get yelled at. But did you see, this was funny. Nagy wanted to challenge a play, which turned out he didn't have to because the refs intervened and they were reviewing it. But did you see how he threw the red flag down at the ref's feet? Probably the best thing Nagy's done all year. He was so mad. He looked at the ref and he took the red flag and he goes, oh, my microphone, right in front of the ref, right by his feet. It was hilarious. And I'm like, okay, Nagy, finally you do something worthy. But it's just not good. We are horrible. I really kind of thought maybe the Bears would fire him today because there's another new rule that they just started. I just heard about this last night. At the meetings, the winter meetings last week. There's 2 rule changes in looking for coaches. One, which was brought in the beginning of the season, if you're out of it and you've decided to fire your coach after the season, you can interview coaches that are in the playoffs. Prior years, you had to wait till they were out of the playoffs. So, if you see a coach that you want to interview for the job, if you fired him after the season, you can do it during the playoffs. The new rule this year, just implanted 10 days ago or so, if you fire your coach during the season, have fired your coach during the season, you can start interviewing during the last 2 weeks of the regular season. So right there, why wouldn't the Bears fire Nagy? That gives them 2 extra weeks over all the other teams because you already got the Jaguars and the Raiders, so those 2 teams are already going to start looking and interviewing coaches the last 2 weeks of the season. So why don't the Bears jump in it? Because there's going to be other firings this year. I've mentioned it to you many times, and because there are going to be firings besides Nagy, and so that for that reason alone, fire him. Give the special coach, the special teams coach, the coaching job for the rest of the year because I don't see us winning any games. We're so bad. We are so bad, and I feel really bad for the defense because they played their hearts out. They really did. And it's unfortunate. It is. It's I just don't know why the Bears, you know what? The Bears have a lot of work to do. And George McCaskey, I know he doesn't watch my show. I am going to be writing him a letter after the season, but I'm going to leave him alone because he's busy. But I'm really disappointed. And everyone says the Bears aren't going to be good until they sell the team, blah, 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 blah. I'm so tired of hearing that. That comes up whenever they tank. They haven't tanked this bad in a long time, really, when you think about it. I was going to look it up, but I was like, I'm going to talk about bad shit enough this show, so I'm not going to bring up how many times they've been 4-10 in the season. But it's been a while. We've not had some great seasons the last 10 years or so, but not this bad. This is just, that's why I don't understand why they don't fire him. But what are you going to do? And I forgot to mention, I got a Mr. Mooney jersey right on for Christmas. I had an early Christmas. We celebrated an early Christmas with some relatives, because we're not all gonna be together. So I got this Mr. Mooney jersey, and I love Mr. Mooney, so I got another jersey. I don't know. I think I have like 8 or 9 of them now. My sister's like, "You don't need any more jerseys. Stop it." And I said, "Well, I'm gonna pass them on to my grandson. So when he gets to be older, he'll have a ton of jerseys from, Dick Butkus to Walter Payton to all the upcoming Bears, after that. So yeah, cool, huh? Yeah, baby. And so I don't know what's going to happen, guys. It's just sad. It really is. That's why no one watches my show anymore, because I don't want to hear about the Bears. Only true blue, really hardcore fans watch them. And some of my relatives are kind enough and friends to watch the show. I have a couple girlfriends that I've known for almost 50 years, and 2 of them don't even watch football. Well, one kind of does, and the other one does not. And she watches all the time. And I love you, Sue, and I love you, Peggy. Neither one of them know anything about football really, but they do support me. So you guys rock, okay? And I do know some. I'm sure my brother watches me too, and he rocks too. So thank you guys. I really, really do appreciate it. I don't think I will be doing a show this week. We play Seattle on Sunday. We'll be in Seattle the day after Christmas, and there's a lot of things going on with the holiday and stuff, so I'm not going to be around. I will be out of town. My son will be staying at my house, though. He's going to come watch my house while I'm gone, so he's staying here. But I will be gone for a little bit, so not real long, but I just won't. And you know what, at this point, we're not going to win. Because Seattle, what are they, 5 and something? 5 and 8, maybe? And they're not, because do they play tonight? I don't remember who plays tonight. Yes, they do. They play the Rams, so they're 5 and 8. And although they're going to be off on a short week, I'm going to watch the game. So I might do a show. I'll probably do a show after the game, but I'm not going to do a show prior to the this Friday on Christmas Eve prior to the Seattle game. So I'm sure none of you are going to really be all that bummed. But you know what? I'll probably do a show the day after the Bears game on the 26th when they play Seattle. Unless it's as horrible as today, and maybe I won't. But so most likely you will not see me until the following week when they play New York. New Year's weekend, they play New York. So I will be doing a show before and after that game. So you'll definitely see me then. But what can I say? The Bears' offense is pathetic. The coaching staff is pathetic. Upper management, pathetic. It has to be shook up. Brian Greasy said last night, one of the three announcers, which I do like the Monday night announcers, Brian Greasy said, Bears fans and the state of Illinois do not deserve this. He said they're one of the greatest fan bases in the country. They love their Chicago Bears, and they deserve better than what's been put on the field this year. And management better shake things up, excuse me, to rectify this. Because we do have some good talent on this team. It's just sporadic all over the place. I'm not going to go into that today, but you know what I mean. So he was right. I was like, yeah, you're right, Brian. We do deserve it. And I like these guys because when they did the Pittsburgh game, these three, it was a Monday night, they were sticking up for the Bears and saying the refs did a bad job. And then last night they said a couple calls were really bad. So, it's not just us. It's other people out there seeing it. So the Bears suck, and it just breaks my heart. It really does, because I am a true Blue Bears fan, and my son is, and it's just killing him. I'm kind of sorry I made him a Bears fan, and now I have a grandson coming, and I'm going to do it to him too. So anyways, so we'll stop bitching. We know what we know. They suck. Defense, you know what? I know you can't give a game ball they don't give game balls on losses, but the defense all deserved a game ball. Anybody who played last night on that field deserved a game ball for the defense. So keep it up. And I just hope, I love you all. I appreciate the support that I get from all of you, even though nobody really wants to talk or listen about the Chicago Bears, but my regulars still do keep watching me. So you guys are rock. And I want everybody to have a great holiday week, Christmas week. Love one another. This is, we should be doing all year round, but particularly this time. And if you see somebody who's, sad or something, a lot of people are alone at the holidays. So if you can help anybody out, do it. Put another seat at your table. Is it going to kill you? Help somebody out. Be kind. And I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas. I hope all your wishes come true. You know what I'm asking Santa for? A Bears team for 2022. But I don't know if Santa can deliver that. That's a big ask. But I really do wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. And I love you. And again, may all your wishes come true. And at the end of the day, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. See ya later. Merry Christmas.